It was just a normal Saturday at a quiet suburban grocery store until a young cop, itching to prove himself, drew his weapon on a man who wasn't just innocent. He was someone who could end his entire career with a single phone call. Hands where I can see them now. The voice cut through the air like a blade. In the middle of the cereal aisle, Julian Hayes froze. 1 second, he was choosing between Raisin Bran and Honey Nut Cheerios. The next, he was staring down the barrel of a service pistol. His hands went up, calm on the outside, boiling with disbelief inside. "Officer, there's been a mistake," Julian said, steady as a rock. But the officer, Kyle Becker, wasn't listening. Young, hot-headed, and clearly threatened by Julian's presence, Becker wasn't looking for the truth. He was looking for a threat. And in his biased eyes, a black man calmly shopping was enough. Now let's pause, because what Becker didn't know, Julian Hayes wasn't just some guy from the neighborhood. He was a decorated FBI agent with over 20 years of experience tackling criminal organizations and domestic threats. The kind of man who stared down real danger for a living. He had grown up in this very town, fought against every limitation society tried to place on him, and made it all the way to the bureau. And now a rookie cop was treating him like a suspect over cereal. Becker's interrogation quickly turned aggressive. No reports of theft, no probable cause, just suspicion, raw and baseless. "You look like you don't belong here," the officer spat. Julian remained composed. "I live here. I'm buying groceries." But when Julian refused to show ID without probable cause, which, by the way, he was well within his rights to do, the situation turned dangerous. Becker's hand dropped to his pistol again, and his voice rose in panic. "Hands up." And in that moment, Julian knew this wasn't about law. It wasn't about justice. It was about power, about ego, about fear. So Julian made a move of his own, not with his hands, with his phone. "I suggest you call your superior," he said coolly. Becker sneered. "What, you think you know the chief or something?" Julian didn't blink. "I do. Frank Donovan, your chief, my friend." He pulled out his phone, dialed, and put it on speaker. When Chief Donovan answered, Julian kept it simple. "Frank, I'm at the grocery store. One of your officers just pulled a gun on me for shopping." The silence on the line spoke volumes. Then Donovan replied with the fury Julian had rarely heard. "Don't move. I'm on my way." Becker stood frozen, his face draining of color. The moment he realized who he had just threatened, his knees nearly gave out. Minutes later, Chief Donovan stormed into the store, not in uniform, but unmistakably in charge. He looked at Julian, then at Becker, still clutching his weapon. "What are you doing?" Donovan demanded. "Why is your gun drawn?" Julian stayed quiet. He didn't need to explain. The chief already knew. Then came the bombshell. "That's FBI Special Agent Julian Hayes, my best friend." The room shifted. The floor metaphorically vanished under Becker's feet. Donovan didn't wait. He ordered Becker to hand over his weapon, badge, and radio on the spot. Suspended immediately. Back at the station, it got worse for Becker. Internal Affairs took the case personally. They pulled grocery store footage from every angle, and what it showed was damning. Becker approaching Julian with aggression, drawing his weapon without cause, and unraveling the moment he realized who he was dealing with. His excuses didn't hold water. The board saw it all. The racism, the abuse of authority, the dangerous overreach, and the verdict was unanimous. Fired, effective immediately. And if he didn't resign on the spot, the department was ready to press criminal charges. Becker signed, shaking, crying, career destroyed. Julian didn't celebrate. He wasn't looking for revenge. What happened to him was just one moment in a much larger fight. A fight people of color face every day without the privilege of an FBI badge or a chief on speed dial. But this time, the system worked. The badge didn't protect the wrongdoer. Justice caught up, and for once, it was loud, swift, and public. Julian walked out of that store that day with more than groceries. He walked out with proof that speaking up, standing firm, and demanding accountability still matters. Because when prejudice carries a badge, silence is not an option.